Welcome everyone to the coverage here for the $300 minimum 3v3 search and destroy only tournament, of course, taking place here on January 10th. It's myself here live in the UMG studio, aka known as Lando, joined alongside by Lemon Kiwi from home. Jen, happening here toward map number 1 of course, here on St. Marie Dumont in this best of 3. And kind of an interesting take tonight. We're used to doing 4v4, it's kind of variant search and destroy, but now kind of focusing on the 3 versus 3. So kind of a new strategy. I know this kind of implements a new thing when it comes to casting, but I think it should be a kind of interesting one to be casting tonight just because of the new level of oddities that we're seeing as far as the tournament structure.
Well, it's going to change your playstyle also quite a bit, having one player down in 3 versus 3, but just like that, in a 1 versus 2, Cellium will be the last one left. Bomb is also down for the other side, so he's going to take this quite cautiously, but the duo ship on the other side was pretty strong, but nonetheless, quick first round there.
Indeed it is. As like I said, when it comes to St. Marie Dumont, we're going to be seeing pretty much standard hits when it comes down to this B-bomb site over toward Radio Tower from either side of these teams. And of course, being in 3 versus 3 could change things up, but I think it's really important to mention, as the rest of the rounds do go throughout the rest of the tournament, is that first bloods mean even more. That first kind of kill advantage obviously means a lot because the man count starts to kind of diminish. You're as closer you are to 0, or even 1 rather, can make things a little bit awkward. But of course, flipping the sides, it will be Cellium and co from the side of Ice. Now making their way onto offense, making a typical B push. At the same time, return back-to-back rounds, both finding the first bloods. And of course here with that PPSH variant, my favorite, the duck soup.
Well, Cellium's trying to get the bomb down. They don't have the man advantage, but at least they have the objective advantage. And it's big GloFrostyyy from the right side trying to spot a player. Finally does get the trade in that process, but now leaving him in a 1 versus nobody, winning that very important gunfight at the very end against Cellium, getting that defuse and almost the ace to his name, where he's going to be working on some streaks later in the rounds.
Yep, solid play there coming in from this man as the STG-44 getting put to work. As I believe he's yet to die, actually, in the 2 rounds 1. As this man Frosty, like I said, when it comes into this WestR group, they're known as a typical 40-4 search and destroy team for a lot of our tournaments and whatnot. Frosty, a major point in the victories that they have. Very solid player at that, is on offense. Very close to streaks. Not at all untypical if they're going to give him the bomb, just go for the quick plant. They even go for the offsite just to make things even more kind of an easier position for him. As you like to expect that Zaptius probably would have spotted him, but I don't think he did. No, Zaptius has no idea that this plant is actually taking place because he sitting inside the top red, or bottom red rather, is going to give that call out to haazy. So with that in mind, call out is not given. Cellium ends up finding the first blood. However, bomb is down, and this is going to be an interesting retake that they're going to have to make, but it's going to make things a lot easier if they can shut down Frosty, but narrowly escapes here. 1 shot, is able to stay up, and here comes the nade from return. We'll see if that does any damage. It looks like it. No, it does not. Cellium is still alive, going for the defuse, and this one should be good to go. Here come the streaks. Will it be here in time is the question. And no, they will not. The defuse comes in, and smart play from the guys on Ice as they're able to secure their first round.
Well, pretty solid plays, getting the bomb, I apologize, the bomb plant down, the first blood in the process, and only making this a 1-round difference between these 2 teams. We're going to take a look at what the defense are going to be setting up, usually going towards B, but take a look at these offense. They're going towards the bottom of the map where nades being exchanged. I wonder if there's at least some information being exchanged, but oh, a quick snipe from TTinyy takes out haazy for the first blood in favor of West. Now they're going towards the A-bomb site. Another sniper pick there from TTinyy for the second. Now, can he get, I guess, technically the ace? Since there's only 3 players on the map, he's looking for it. But the quick nade from Zaptius, knowing exactly where that player was, now rotating as he's the last player left.
Yeah, TTinyy picking off the first 2, like what Zaptius does in that situation. Realize that a sniper's on a head glitch, tosses a nade on one point of view, and obviously checks the other nose that he has to at least peek one of the perspectives, and obviously range through. Obviously takes that TTinyy. Now shuts down Frosty. Could be a 1 versus 3 return. Sitting inside of top red, knows his position. Granted, doesn't have the weapon of choice, but at least is on the defensive end, so we can kind of play spoiler, play up close, try to be a thorn in the side, as it looks like Zaptius debating on which bomb site to try and attack. Realizes most likely with the bar in his hands, an assault rifle is probably the preferred weapon when it comes down to a more open, a lot more places where return really can't be sitting at. And trying to go for the quick plant return, obviously realizing out of sight. no longer going to be going to that particular one as he can catch the head off toward the right side. Can he finish with the gunfight is the question, but no, Zaptius with a huge turn on with the 1 versus 3. Incredible play here coming in from this man as we can watch what he does here on this bomb. Nice turn on there to return as uses the bomb very, very well. As we talk about momentum, that can obviously grant it to you as back-to-back rounds here for the guys on ice. Granted, it hasn't came easy by any means, but still, Zaptius, Cellium, haazy, they're doing exactly what's necessary.
Well, it's just smart plays out of Zaptius, getting that initial nade onto TTinyy, who was looking for the ace, and then the 1v3 clutch after that, picking up the bomb, getting it down, and all the rest to follow. Now we're in a 2-2 split after West started off with the 2 consecutive rounds at the beginning, and Ice answering back. It's Zaptius again with another nade onto tReturn, who's trying to go for the bomb plan. TTiny's able to recover that one and is not going to engage the objective quite yet, knowing there's going to be players from Ice on the other side. Catches Cellium and should be comfortable here for the bomb plant, as it's going to be a 2 versus 2. Zaptius here over in Restaurants, not going to prevent it from going on, but actually going for the flank. Frosty will have to cover TTinyy here on this bomb plant.
And Frosty actually gets caught up there on the vehicle. It ends up dropping because of it, so haazy finding that, and now it's TTinyy left in a 1 versus 2. He obviously saw his teammates drop in that last clutching situation. We'll see if he can try to pick up the pace now. As does have the bomb in hand. And if you notice, I should take a look at the above head camera. Zaptius and haazy both not necessarily playing right together, but being aware that this push toward the B site is pretty much a likely one at that. So as TTinyy drops, it will be Zaptius yet again here for the final kill. This one, a lot easier than the last, but both going his way regardless. And now we see 3 rounds in a row, one from the guys on ice, as they're in a pretty prime spot, I think it's fair to say right now, Jen.
Very fair to say, and I was Frosty losing that initial the gunfight at the very end to try and cover this bomb plan. They're being extremely patient when they cleared Cellium from the defense. It could have probably jumped on the bomb plant right away, and that's going to cost them the round, as after being down 2 rounds, Ice are now in the lead and being careful to exchange nades over at B. It's going to be the players here from West set up pretty pushed up. Over at B, Cellium is looking for the pick. Streaks coming in. Who's it going to find? Nonetheless, first and second blood here for Ice, and they're closing in on the objective.
Yeah, I like that play. They obviously realize the streaks players from the set of WestR, of course, realize those are coming in. They try to plead for cover, and right when they tried to escape from that B bomb site kind of square, that's exactly where Cellium was waiting to try to finish off that first blood. So with that, all 3 players falling for WestR. Streaks used successfully, and it's this man haazy here in the final kill cam. As this guy, I've been actually able to see him on Twitter the last few days, kind of playing alongside of Cellium, Zaptius and co. I think he might have been playing with like Simp and maybe Illy a few days ago. I'm not exactly sure, but he's a guy who I haven't really been hearing of too much. I haven't really seen him in any of our Search and Destroy tournaments. Most notably, at least haven't been able to cast over him. But very curious to see what this guy can do. Of course, playing with top-level Search and Destroy talent like that, and he obviously has something to bring to the table, as he, of course, currently even at the moment. As speaking of him, just takes out 1 there onto TTinyy on a 3 spree for him. And return, picking up the pace, takes out Zaptius, and just like that, before my words can even be, my sentences can even be formed. It's a 5th round grab. This is a kind of pretty fast-paced round, I think it's fair to say, Jen. I mean, we've been kind of discussing and saying, well, it's been the guys on ice who've kind of made that comeback. They already find themselves at the 5th round. I feel like this literally happened in, well, like a second or so.
Well, they're definitely, West are definitely losing that momentum. They pulled something interesting out of their strategy book of smoking mid and using that high risk, high reward, but it's only risk there. They did all collapse within the couple seconds that you were talking, and now 1 round separates these 2 teams from the victory or a loss. As Ice heading towards his A-bomb site, they're gonna have Zaptius watch over mid, where not rushing necessarily the objective quite yet. They look like they want to comfort themselves with the first blood before that, but actually calling in streaks from, I believe, the side of Ice, but now they have the information of where West are, which is mostly mid-map and towards B.
Oh, and Frosty comes in with streaks of his own. TTinyy with a nade, along with the final kill will end this round out, so something to kind of keep in mind. WestR, they end up obviously utilizing streaks and making Ice waste theirs. I guess it was kind of unorthodox play. I believe there was 2 players from the side of WestR who were into the top red. Granted, I understand the positioning especially when it comes to 3 versus 3, can be a little bit different. But having 2 players kind of sitting in the same position, both kind of watching over the same position as well. I think one was just kind of watching in the enemy's top room, and also one was watching that A bomb site, because of course the top red position is great for checking either bomb, and definitely typical, but just when they're kind of both utilizing, kind of 2 people doing a one-man job when you're already playing 3 versus 3 is just a little bit odd to me. But regardless, new round, haazy yet again finding the first blood, as I believe the second kill found there from Zaptius, as Frosty quickly left all by himself. The pressure of this map one on his shoulders, and he's handling it well off the start. Player coming from behind, though. Is he ready for it? Up close, a personal fight. Not going to be there, as the expiring kill will come through. 9 rounds of play will do it here for St. Marie-de-Mont, as it will be the guys on ice who catch the momentum after dropping the first 2 rounds, start to kind of combine a few back and forth. And just like that, they are our map 1 victors here.
Well, this was an interesting match to start out, where I've already highlighted ICE started off 0-2 in this S&D, and eventually building up streaks where they're able, I believe it was in round number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They brought out streaks and completely winning first and second blood, and then pretty easy in a 3v3 after that. And West even had some streaks of their own where they were able to answer back at one point, and very smart investment of streaks before for their 3rd round win. Now in a 6-3, we'll go into map number 2, which I believe is London Docks, where ICE could be looking to take the 2-0 after a pretty dominant performance on that last map.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say when it comes to London Docks, we expect to see that SMG play. London Docks, of course, plays incredibly fast, and when you're in 3 versus 3, these rounds are going to go by pretty quick, so both teams going to have to be on their feet, going to have to be on their toes, rather, as WestR is kind of down at the moment. How do they respond? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the $300 minimum 3v3 Search and Destroy taking place here on January 10th. It's myself, Lano, joined alongside by Lemon Kiwi, as dropping in here toward map number 2 on some London Docks, as it was, of course, the guys on ice who do possess a 1-0 advantage after winning St. Marie-de-Mont 6 rounds to 3. After a pretty big swing of events, they obviously did take the momentum, and obviously now trying to carry that one into some London Docks as the rounds do kind of get a little bit quicker. And speaking of such, Return finding the first blood off the break, and just as I say that, the bomb also gets put down, rather, from Cellium, as we'll see how him and Zaptius can try to weather the storm. As Zaptius watching for the flank, but no one's coming there. Return has already found the first 2 kills and is seeking out the 3rd, as this is going to be a very difficult site for Zaptius to try to hold on to here, Jen.
Oh, and I believe we see, oh, there goes the defuse from the side of West. Yeah, this was a very quick round. 1st, 2nd, 3rd blood. Not really any trades going through, and the team Cellium feeling pretty comfortable after map number 1. Now need to warm up here into London Docks, where we saw some interesting strategies from, I believe it was them, that threw out the smokes and different rushes back on St. Marie-de-Mont. So we're hoping that they're going to bring something interesting here on the London Docks, where West start out with the round 1, and they're going to take, I believe they actually started that last S&D as well with the 1st and 2nd round win, but it was ICE that came back, you know, 6 rounds in a row almost. So bomb in hand Frosty, and he's looking for the plant.
Indeed he is. He just actually sacrifices his teammate in the long run. However, TTinyy, I was going to say, does he pull the sniper rifle when it comes out of London Docks? Is this man very talented when it comes down to his sniper play? Did it in preparation for World War II in a lot of our Ghost tournaments, and now providing it here in some World War II. Typical plays there coming in from this man, as him and Frosty now in a 2-on-2, yet to get the bomb down. But just like that, haazy happens to come from basically out of nowhere. And now it's Cellium and TTinyy left all by themselves as they get to duel things out. Can it be Cellium who secures the round for his team? As you know, TTinyy shooting those sniper bullets through 10. Spotting out Cellium. Can he find the kill is the question, but no, the jump from the top boxes will end out TTiny's run. I've got to say, this is a pretty risky situation if you're Cellium. I mean, kind of challenging a guy like TTinyy on a head glitch, but doesn't have enough time. Going to pull things out as the EU cadet himself be able to secure this one in round 2.
Well, I started off pretty good with the first blood, but it coming down to a 1 versus 1 with sniper versus the bar, and you know, could have actually gotten that shot with the sniper, but that would have been huge. We saw TTinyy go off with the sniper, where I believe he got an ace with the 3 players. Oh, look at that! Already starts off with the first blood onto Cellium, and the objective here is going to be in the hands of Team Ice, but not really with the bomb in hand. Physically, Zaptius finally recovers that one.
Wow.
But a second player goes down, and now haazy's job is to recover the bomb. Has to deal with Frostyyy around the corner. Can he win that one? And no, dropping like flies. Pretty much team ace from the side of West.
Yeah, and essentially if you're Ice now, when it comes to an offense, I mean for both teams, we've been seeing pretty standard play. In these 3 versus 3s, make the rush toward A, get the quick plant down. That's always the goal, is to try on offense to get the plant down as fast as you possibly can and try to keep all your teammates alive at that. And essentially what we're seeing is that TTinyy is just able to kind of get to a point of view where he can watch over with that sniper rifle and really kind of take them down. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see future offensive rounds, of course, for the guys on Ice, if they start to throw out those smokes, at least use nades off the break and play a little bit more passively, or if we see them kind of work toward this B-bomb site, because whether or not TTinyy continues to rock up with that sniper rifle, it's always a worry in the back of the guys from Ice's minds.
Oh, first blood exchange on both sides. We're going to take a look at Frostyyy and see this duo ship out of him and TTinyy. And I wonder, just want to take a look if TTinyyy's running the sniper rifle. No, has that finally, or at least maybe it's in his back pocket, but he's not running it quite yet. Long range battle here against Zaptius, Cellium versus Frostyyy and TTinyy. Frostyy's going to be pushing this mid-map, and it looked like they want to go towards A, but they could easily cross and get this bomb down pretty easily over at B. Frostyyy finally committed towards A. He's going to send TTinyy towards Statue, but he's got to win this gunfight versus 2 people. TTinyy challenges the 2 players and is not able to win that one. Frostyyy was not able to get the bomb down, but wins that against Cellium. Can he win it against Zaptius? And no, the 2 versus 2 ends up with a win for Ice.
Indeed it does, and honestly, that was a pretty smart play coming in from TTinyy. Of course, already found 1 kill in the round, tries to find the final 2, but it's Zaptius and co. who are able to stay up. As like I said, they even things up at 2 rounds apiece. And like I said, now looking on here, I'm curious with our offensive team, the guys from Ice, do they try to challenge on this A site, or this A site yet again, or do they kind of play a little bit more passively? As of course you see TTinyy rocking that sniper rifle, not spawning anything off the break, and that's the reason why the bomb has been moved to B. Single-handedly, the guy who's been shutting down that A site all by himself realizes that, hey, they're at least playing a little bit more passively. It wouldn't surprise me if they might even try to toss over a bait smoke. It seems that it is not going to be the case, though, as Zaptius watching the flank, Cellium still leading the way, as the bomb has yet to get planted, and that's because players are playing a little bit more passively. Return finds one, haazy quick to respond, as now him and Zaptius do not have the bomb in their possession at the moment. It's left on those top boxes, and honestly, that's probably one of the worst positions to have it at, because you have point of views from either mid-statue on water side and also through this kind of middle B side, where anyone could be looking at it.
Yeah, and in this 3 versus 3, Ice sent all 3 players towards B and didn't have any eyes over at mid-statue, where one of the players from West came and got that first blood into Cellium where the trade went through. But like you said, dropping that bomb in an unfavorable position, haazy is able to pick that one up, deciding to now challenge here against Frostyyy, knowing he can't get the safe bomb plant down. Zaptius going for the flank, picks him up, should give haazy the go-ahead. Is just going to check over at Statue because they don't have any map control there. But TTinyyy's the last one left. Let's take a look at what he's able to do here with the sniper. Picks off haazy, has this other gun in his back pocket, so not stuck here with the sniper and in an unfavorable position. Zaptius completely leaves that site and is going to trick TTinyy into thinking, where the heck is he?
Where could he be? TTinyy is able to spot him and is going to go for the defuse. And I like this play. He's going to hop off the bomb, trying to bait out Zaptius on the challenge, and he's playing it as if he's the one who has the advantage in this situation and takes out Zaptius, the headshot. Welcome to fire, as he will take him down. The 1 versus 2 successful for TTinyy, as he now is progressing himself to 7-2 in this game, along with the 3rd round. Very well played from this man. As like I said, WestR do take the round advantage in that situation. I thought the Ice was playing things very well, Jen. They obviously dropped for the first blood, but after that they start to gain some momentum. They find themselves, I believe, in like, what, a 2 versus 2. They have the bomb kind of placed in an awkward position on top boxes, but they kind of bait out. I believe the bait out to try and find it ends up working out, and then both finding kills. And in the end, though, it's TTinyy who plays incredibly strong, and this is the issue when it comes down to facing off against him. It's just the confidence that this guy has. I mean, literally, he has a PPSH or a sniper rifle at all times, if not at the exact same time if he finds one off the ground. I mean, he is just a force to be reckoned with, and he's challenging everything and seems to not be losing anytime soon.
Well, he's an extremely confident player. You saw him go for the bait defusal and baiting the other player out and chasing him for the kill with plenty of time on the clock to go for the defuse. And Tiny's been time and time again getting either first blood, 1v2s, 1v3s, you name it. He's a factor for the team here, 7-2. Cellium, the last player for Ice, who's been quite the factor here for his team, not in this current map because he's 2-4, but able to get the bomb down. That's West in a very favorable position. Tiny watching the flank knows exactly where Cellium is going to come from. Easy kill from behind.
Indeed, it is solid play coming in from the guys on WestR as they're starting to get some big plays coming out of this man Tiny as he's involved in essentially every single final kill game, every single bronze star at that, as he's just kind of turned on the pace. Is now looking here at this next offensive round. I know I've been kind of discussing it, saying what's Ice really going to do, but it really has been a factor for them. They struggle with them not being able to go over toward that A side, and it looks like they don't actually have any smokes. Constant stuns. I don't believe I've really even seen them toss a smoke yet in this game, at least where it's worked out successfully for them. And Tiny, like I said, he immediately checks over that A site, realizes that nothing's happening, and that gives the call out. Because as soon as he realizes that they're not there, it makes things a lot easier for his team to kind of join up as a unit and face them on a 3 versus 3 kind of a defensive hold, which you normally don't have your entire team for. So definitely playing a little bit interesting as you kind of see Cellium make his way through mid-street in an interesting point of view, and you can see very wary of where Tiny could possibly be at as lingering through middle. A much-needed kill that has to go down on return, but it's Tiny in the back line, starting to fire on Cellium, taking some shots. Can he escape with the fight is the thing. Up close and personal fight. Can he win it? And no, it's not going to happen. Some team shots from behind will assist Tiny in that final engagement as return picks up the final 2. I mean, essentially, it's just been an all-out collapse from the guys on Ice, and I think it really has to be related on the fact, Jen, that they don't have any smokes to kind of bait out Tiny. They have nothing to counter this man, and essentially they're kind of put at an awkward moment where, hey, we can't go A, we have to go B, and B's not working out for them, so they're kind of put at, they're like kind of staring at a brick wall when it comes to offense because I don't think they have really any solutions to the issue that they're facing.
A lot of issues that Ice are having in that 2 versus 2, and Cellium really coming in with a vengeance, trying to challenge Tiny, who was able to have enough time to switch to his other gun and win that one. So in a 3 versus 3, already a huge nade from Zaptius. This guy's a nade god. So many times I've seen him get the first blood or nade kills onto the previous maps, but things equalized out. tReturn is now the last one left for West, where this is going to be a huge round for Ice to keep the series alive. But we've seen these clutches happen. As I was trying to hype it up, it's not going to happen. 3-5, West still 1 round away from evening out the series, as Ice did take St. Marie 6-3.
Yeah, and I know we are also kind of keeping in the back of our minds Arden Forest that it's very possible of taking place. A lot different than London Docks. We of course see the I mean, it's fair to say, out of the 2 maps that we just witnessed, I think St. Marie and London Docks are kind of a combination when it comes to Arden Forest. I mean, we don't see as fast play, which kind of relates to St. Marie du Mans. Look at this line set from Zaptius. I was going to say, that is very possible about finding a first blood, but return is able to drop it. But like I said, keeping in mind Arden Forest, kind of a combination of both of these maps. As Zaptius takes that one from behind, doesn't even want to see that map number 3, nearly takes out the final, or one of the last final players, as that will be his final resting place is on those top boxes, one that was constantly plaguing them throughout this map number 2 on London Docks. As both maps seeing a 6-3 scoreline, but going the opposite way. This time it's WestR, and they also forced that map number 3, like we just talked about, on Arden Forest.
Well, we've highlighted Tiny, who's triple positive 9-3, but also Return, I believe, finished with double-digit 10 kills. But in that last round, 2 of those kills from West started off with nades. So maybe Ice having to be a little be more patient with their rush routes, or just West are very knowledgeable on those nade spots and being aware of where Ice like to rush, nading them both times. That should not be happening. Nonetheless, this is going to go to map 3, which is pretty exciting here for a 3 versus 3. You see a lot of 2-0s technically in these tournaments, but now we're heading into Arden Forest.
Indeed, we are. Like I said, I was kind of discussing and saying this is a combination of both of these maps. In some cases, I think we can kind of take a few of the additives from the prior 2 maps and kind of discuss them when it comes to Arden Forest. I think it's interesting because it kind of plays as far as London Docks, when it kind of relates to both bomb sites being viable. I mean, for the most part, you're going to be seeing a lot of pushes toward B, but generally, we could also be seeing a lot of pushes go over toward A, which is obviously going to be on Cabin side as well. So that one kind of relates to me a little bit to London Docks. As far as St. Marie, it's a bigger map. You can obviously kind of play for picks. You can use the sniper rifle through mid. Things kind of play out very interesting when it comes down to bigger maps, which is a lot of time where we see the sniper rifle dominate. Of course, we obviously see on London Docks that wasn't a factor by any means for the man TTinyy, as he was just kind of a one-man wrecking crew throughout that map number 2. Finishes off, I think it was what, like 8-9-2, something like that. So
yeah.
just absolutely was on a tear. And that, to me, was a major factor. And I think coming into this next defensive or offensive round, rather, for the opposite team being Ice, is that constantly in their struggles in that last map, it was the fact that they couldn't get the bomb down on a site. It was a matter of they're kind of limited at choosing one bomb, and that was an issue because they didn't have any smokes. But of course, you see quickly they toss out that smoke, and you see Zaptius being very well aware that TTinyy could be lingering at any moment. However, though, it's not the case. He's actually going to be the guy rushing at the moment. So Zaptius thinks he has an all clear, but it's not the case whatsoever. Players lingering all around him as player number 5, GloFrostyyy, realizes the bomb plant is in play. And now is trying to go for the engagement, as I believe the smoke is tossed out from the opposite team. At the same time, return drops, and we'll see how Frostyyy and TTinyy can try to retake this.
Well, losing a return over on the flank. Huge kill there from TTinyy with the machine pistol onto Zaptius. But Trey's going back and forth. Now it's in a disadvantage here for Ice, who got the bomb plant down and even the first blood on the return. Things are completely collapsing against them. Cellium wants to win this one against TTinyy, but it's going to actually be Frostyyy picking up that kill. Got to be frustrating there for Ice after you think you got the guaranteed round. West now going for the defuse and striking first blood into this S&D.
And props to Frostyyy and TTinyy, right, for playing that out very well. They're obviously trying to retake this cabin bomb site. They're a man down. They kind of play the bait and switches very well through the doorway. TTinyy enters in with the machine pistol, does the work necessary. And from there, I mean, they literally play perfect search and destroy, right? And then at the very end, you notice where TTinyy easily could have gone for the diffuser. I think there's like, what, 10, 11 seconds left. He immediately gives the call out. Says, Frostyyy, how about you go for this one? As TTinyy continues here with the sniper rifle, rather on offense, finds the pick. But like I said, coordinated search and destroy, a 2 versus 3, works out very well for them in what was not a situation for them to try and close out. And before I can even talk about this next round, it was a matter of WestR kind of hanging back, waiting for the picks to come to them. I believe it was TTinyy rather, who finds the first pick with a sniper rifle through mid. The other two guys kind of rush them face up. WestR's holding a head glitch, and they're going to win that one every time if the guys on Ice continue with that strategy.
I mean, got to give props to Ice for switching it up. They were playing very passive in the first round, getting the bomb down, playing very smart. Then the numbers not going in their way. Now in round number 2, they tried the full-on rush where they got picked from not only a sniper and then even close range, losing those gunfights. As Ice are going to be back onto offense, and they want to solidify B. West have pushed up return at this middle cut way, so it's going to be up to the first blood. But even we've seen first bloods in different teams' favor, and it doesn't necessarily decide the round, as tReturn is actually going to be the one picking up Cellium. And now they are aware that return is going to be there, and Frostyy's also pushed up towards B. The trade is made, however, and the numbers are equalized 2-1. Frosty's the last one left for West.
Indeed he is, and he obviously realizes the pressure that could be coming through you. That's where haazy's been lingering at throughout a lot of this map, but a big win that they need to grab, and they will do exactly that. Ice, it looked to be kind of awkward off the start, right? Because I believe through you, that's where exactly haazy was lingering at. And I believe there was kind of a flank that comes into play. A player who wasn't watching through that backside U wasn't able to be there for the trade after the first blood goes in. So I think there was kind of like a call out probably on Ice where it was like, you know, haazy, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm sniping. And they're like, oh, okay, gotcha. And then obviously he does the work necessary with the sniper rifle and kind of cleans things up. But kind of an awkward moment there where it looked to be as if the guys from Ice were put in an awkward point of view. But regardless, they clutch up when it matters. And the sniper rifle being shown not just from one side, but also the other. As TTinyy yet again being taken out here early on in the round, and just like that, Cellium finds the second. In back-to-back situations, Frostyyy last alive, 1 versus 3, bomb not in his hands, and it's only, what, been like 20 seconds in this round, Jen?
Yeah, it's a bit of a collapse, and this is what I like about both these teams. One of them will start with a large lead, let's say 2 rounds in a row, and now you see Ice crawling back into this one again. Frostyy's at least able to get one of those kills, so now leaving him in a 2 versus 1, which is a 1 versus 2 technically, and it's still a doable situation, and even better that he's picked up the bomb heading towards B. And where are these players here from Ice? They're going to be at the bottom of the map. And I believe they picked him up while he was trying to go for the bomb plant. 2 versus 2, like I said, the equalizer coming in.
Nice shots from range here from the man Zaptius, as he was obviously a big factor in their victory on St. Marie de Mall. As curious to see how this map obviously does kind of conclude. I mean, fairly close maps throughout the first two, I think it's fair to say, Jen. Of course, both with a 6-3 scoreline, Ice winning map 1 and WestR winning map number 2. And this one looking closer off the start after just, of course, 4 rounds of play, but heading into the 5th one. Cellium and Co. on the offense. haazy already receiving a stun. And on the opposite end, most likely TTinyy with that returning sniper rifle. But no, he's actually inside a middle. And he's checking through cabin side, thinking that, hey, there could be making another offensive push toward this bomb site. And right now, if I'm Zaptius, I'm backing up. Yeah, I was just saying, I'm not challenging that. There's no reason to try and go for something like that, especially in case of what could be an awkward first blood potential. We talked about how important sniper rifles are and how important first bloods are. And it's currently even at 2-2 in the first blood game. Smoke gets tossed out. I believe that one comes in from return. I like that play to make them try to bait out, make them have to rush toward you. And it looks like Zaptius checks the wrong corner, maybe receives an incorrect call-out from a teammate. And just like that, TTinyy is there for the second. And now haazy, last alive sniper in hand, gets a quick scope onto one. Nearly a double highlight play, but generally, a round that kind of looks a little bit awkward, but I really like the play from return in this round here, Jen. Tosses out that smoke, makes the enemy kind of have to run through that at them. And you obviously see one player kind of enter inside a crater, checks the complete wrong way, and from there, that was kind of the breakup that we see from Ice.
Well, it was an interesting push from Ice, you know, sending that one player towards cabin, towards the A side to maybe try and bait it, maybe try to force a rotation from the defense over to the wrong side, maybe clear up B a little bit more, since they've been having a hard time getting the bomb down, or at least winning their offensive rounds. Zaptius smartly disengaging, but then throws himself at mid and gets picked. That was kind of a bad play in my opinion, but what's not a bad play is Cellium picking up that first blood, giving his team the advantage here onto the defense. But we're looking at West to recover this bomb and decide if they want to go towards B, which is now infiltrated with Ice members, or do they want to go towards A? TTiny's all the way at the back. Unfortunately, costs the life of his teammate not being by his side, and even going for the flank, it does not reward him in any sort of way.
And I really like to play kind of, I think, throughout this round for TTinyy, because granted, things obviously don't work out in his favor by any means. His teammates obviously lose kind of 1v1, 1v2 gunfights, just because of the situations that they're in. But we see Zaptius there in the bottom, or the top left of your screen. He was checking over at A, and there was a moment where it looked as if TTinyy, who obviously loses his teammates, a lot of people would say, oh, we'll join up with your squad and try to obviously try to close out a match like that, or try to close out a deficit like that. But I really like the play of him in that situation for at least trying something new, to maybe go on a flank, catch the enemy off guard. He was maybe, you know, what, 5 or 6 seconds a little bit behind. But prior to that, I mean, if he could have gone on a flank, that could have been a totally different round. So I just like to play from TTinyy, you know, kind of playing some more unorthodox search and destroy. Regardless, sometimes it does work out for you. And speaking of unorthodox, a defensive play that isn't being made over toward this A site, no pressure whatsoever. And the guys from Ice are going to take that every single time. If they realize that TTinyy is not sitting on a head glitch with a sniper rifle, they're happily to try and challenge that side of the map every single chance they get. As I said, the quick plant goes down, return going for the challenge, not able to win this one. Is Zaptius holding the head glitch well, so take out the first two. Few shots into the body for a good measure, as now Frostyyy left in a pretty awkward position. 1 versus 3, being shot at from all kinds of different directions, as this man has been found in constant 1 versus 3 engagements, and I think it's just because of the role that he plays on the team, kind of the main assault rifle for this group.
Well, Zaptius, you know, just checking if his gun still works after those first and second bloods. Easy kills, also standing on that bomb head glitch. And also actually a push for Ice that worked. Usually when they full out rush and be extremely aggressive, they get punished from West. But West were looking towards middle map and actually hadn't even checked B in the first 10 seconds. So lots of time for Ice to get the bomb down, and then the perfect positioning from Zaptius to pick up the rest of the members. So we'll take a look here at West, who are now down a round. And you guys got to remember, it's map number 3. This is for all the big bucks to move forward into the bracket. Huge first blood there from the side of West. Now looking to engage probably the B bomb. Probably waiting for this push from Ice. And you can see haazy and Zaptius are very spread apart here.
And I like this call from WestR, because you notice their weapon selection right now. All assault rifles, 2 bars, 1 STG-44, playing very passively. They realize that, hey, if we hold a head glitch with an assault rifle, maybe one of them rushes us. It works out for the first blood. They're on to Cellium. They pick up Zaptius, and just like that, haazy is last up with a sniper rifle. So very solid passive play coming in from this group. They realize the situation at hand, and that's a really respectable call for them. Not one that's made easy by any means, but maybe they're thinking, hey, in the back of the minds of the guys on ice, maybe they have some momentum coming from that last round. They want to play quick. They want to play fast, try to find a first blood and advance themselves to that 5th round. However, not the case. Like I said, the guys on WestR play passively. They pull out the assault rifles, hold the head glitches, and when you have a bar kind of on a head glitch at any point on any map, especially in Search and Destroy, I think it's favored to say that they're most likely going to win that fight every single time.
And it's also interesting to note that West have not had a single bomb plant. And that offensive round, it didn't look like it was in their head at all to get the bomb plant down, maybe in the later rounds, just focusing on the kills is solely their objective. Cellium with the first, try to go for TTinyy. This has probably been his 3rd or 4th gunfight that he loses to TTinyy. That's got to be frustrating. Leaves Frosty in a 1 versus 2 against haazy and Zaptius. They're going to go towards A, haazy bomb in hand. Frosty's going to be over at B. It's not going to be aware. And now to traverse over to that site, he's got to watch all his corners, all his cuts, checking the spawn here. And now at least is aware that at least one of the members from ICE are over at cabin getting the bomb down. And he's trying to check every little corner and space that there is around this map. Now 1 versus 2, he's trying to play the smart.
And kind of going for an interesting sight line. You see the guys like Zaptius and co who are kind of hanging out, watching through what should have been a tank cut kind of push. That's usually where guys start to retake this site coming from that position, but he actually heads in through fire cut. And obviously it doesn't make anything happen from it. Kind of an awkward gun engagement. Was probably playing for timing, and unfortunately for him, kind of fires a few bullets. Zaptius is there for the pickup in the end, but regardless, a 5th round gain here for the guys on ice. As we were talking about early, Jen, we were saying, hey, WestR's feeling pretty confident. They're looking pretty solid, and they could easily be taking this series after winning the last map. But however, they find themselves down and around, at least trying to force that round 11. As on offense, it will be a little bit more difficult, and you see them kind of sticking back to what worked for them in their prior offensive round, playing passive, waiting for those first bloods to come to them. And it looks like ICE could be fully aware of that strategy. And if you're in ICE's position, you really don't have to move. But looks like Cellium doesn't even try anything. And Return is there to pick him out from that line site. So smart play coming in from Return. Cellium was just trying to play passively. Like I said, that's what they have to do. That's what they really need to do. Being on defense, make the enemy try to make the mistakes. But it looks like they are the ones finding themselves in those situations as all 3 players from WestR stay alive. And they also force the round 11. This all comes down to this last round. Who progresses on now to round 2?
Yeah, round 11, map 3, you said it. This is going to be very important for both these teams. And also, a very crucial first blood there. Cellium getting picked over at cabin side. Almost could have been baiting. So it was a nice bait out of West to think that maybe they were going towards A site and sticking into the spawn, thinking they might have spotted ICE go for cross, but ICE stayed patient and stayed towards B. Smokes now being exchanged. This is a full rush for West going towards B. The only one that's going to be there is Zaptius. I believe spots the push, decides to disengage, doesn't want to lose any crucial gunfights, has Cellium by his side. The first blood might be able to decide this round as TTinyy gets the bomb down, I believe.
In fact, he does. Bomb planted. And you see one player in your top left minimap trying to make a rush through, but Return has found at least one pick, trying to find the second one on to Zaptius. Comes around the corner, takes him out as well. A 1 versus 1 to decide it all as haazy watches both of his teammates drop. Can Return clutch out this play? Can he find all 3 players? Is the question. Up close, a personal fight, and he wins it as well. A huge play coming in from this man, Return, as he finds the final 3 players in a Game 3, Round 11, as he will single-handedly progress the guys from WestR, to the next round. And that's got to be heartbreaking if you're ICE, because, of course, the bomb gets planted in a situation like that. I mean, generally, I was thinking that ICE, they could be finding themselves in an awkward spot because we see the guys from WestR change up their strategy heading into this 3rd offensive round. The 2 wins prior, they play passively. They play with the assault rifles. They hang back, hold head glitches, and try to play for a first blood. It works out in back-to-back situations, of course, as we get to witness. I believe it was Return in both of those spots finding the first blood. But in this case, they switch up the strats. You see them toss out that smoke toward the front of you. Notice they don't smoke the back of tank, and that's the reason why I believe it was Zaptius who was in the back of that B bomb site, immediately rotate out either hears a call out from his teammates or maybe just has the intuition that, hey, only one smoke was tossed. They're probably going into the quick rush into, obviously, you. That ends up taking place regardless. He backs up, and his teammates are there for the pickups, right? We see Zaptius pick up a kill, I believe, in the end, or at least has the teammates try to do the work necessary. But it's Return who goes off. That was absolutely absurd play, and that last kill as well was strictly all timing. I'm not sure if he ended up hearing the last player or what it was, but that duck suit, man, he knows exactly how to use it, and obviously finishes off 11-7. Most kills, not just for his team, but for the entire lobby, as that is just rather unfortunate plays to see, as WestR, in very close fashion and dominant, not even dominant fashion, win this one in the last round necessary.
Of course, you highlighted here tReturn with the 11-7. He also dropped the double digits on London Dock. So this has been a standout player for the squad, not only with his use of nades getting the first bloods, but also his ability to finish off the rest of the kills when they have the number advantage. So it's going to be huge for them moving on towards the bracket, I believe. West are going to be facing string beans in the round number 2, or I guess technically quarters of this tournament, where we're excited to follow them through, or perhaps actually catch another match going into this bracket.
Absolutely. So like I said, very interesting first series. Of course, that was just round number 1. You can only imagine the future series that we get to watch, of course, in tonight's 3v3 Search and Destroy, $300 minimum. Of course, like I said, taking place here on January 10th. I just got to witness the chat's reaction to that last play coming in from Return. Unreal play, especially that last kill that ended up, I believe, was down on haazy. So pretty interesting stuff. We'll expect to see that one probably going around the Twitter sphere along on Reddit as well.